Yay. All right, so let's go. We'll call the meeting to order. 6:01. Minutes from last meeting. Linda, do you sent out minutes from last meeting, Linda? Yes.
Yeah.
Any issues? Anyone?
You see them.
No, except the minutes from last meeting. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Great. Good. Andrew's not here, so I think we're going to hold off on the light bulb exchange questions. Right now, I think that everything's just going. People are taking them. And question is Nora here?
No.
No.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, never mind. All right, I'll ask Nora if she needs light bulbs for Waterfront Wednesdays. But otherwise, the exchange program's going. Yay, no issue. The EV car grants, I wrote the RFP that has to go out, and that is moving along. I think I mentioned last time that it looks like the level 3 charge will be going down by Dog Park. And I confirmed that with Rob Perry, and he seems fine. We'll probably put in that parking lot. There's electrical powerage there, and we won't need to chop as many trees. There won't be, hopefully, any trees need to come down because of it, because the power is already there. There's already a parking lot there, so people can just sit in their car and watch the dogs as they charge their car. Next, Arbor Day, the street tree planting. That's any report back on that, but that's a big accomplishment. So kudos to everyone involved. I think they're all in. And I think the invoice is paid too. I think it's like a done deal.
Good.
Right?
I think so.
Right, Sam, right? Andrew's the one to confirm all of it, but as far as my understanding, it's all done. So it's great. Little round of applause for everyone, for Andrew who's not here, and everyone, Sam and Aaron, everyone involved in doing it. Thank you. And we have a list. We have a waiting list, I think, for next year. So we got to get more funding for more street trees. So 1, 2, 3, the tree ordinance, community choice aggregation, and anti-idling laws. I talked to Margaret today. All 3 issues will be on, from my understanding, the legal agenda for tomorrow's meeting.
Yeah. Finally.
I also talked to Margaret Rich. She did promise that she would come here to the meeting today, but I think she's
online.
Was she on the?
Amen.
Yeah, I think she might be there. I think there's still some questions around the community choice aggregation. Ending up on the legal committee agenda.
Yeah, there was a new proposal that just came in that I circulated around that was focused specifically on the one piece of the proposal that was focused on community solar, which just seems like a no-brainer. And so I just had sent it to Margaret just to see if we could just move that along. It's pretty straightforward proposal, but if you want to.
I don't actually know what the thing is at this point, but I think there is I don't know if that has made it onto the agenda.
If Margaret,
Okay. Is there anything we need to discuss here?
If Margaret can hear us, can she speak to what's on the agenda tomorrow related to the CAC?
He says back to the question.
Oh, no, I was able to do it. I was able to do it. Sorry. I was trying to unmute myself. So Rich, you said there were 3 items. The 2 things I have on the agenda are the tree ordinance and the idling law. What was the 3rd item that you said?
Community choice aggregation.
Excuse me?
The community choice aggregation, but specifically the community solar piece of that proposal.
Okay, I didn't have that on the agenda. Isn't, can you, I thought we had done something about this at the last council meeting? Am I missing something here?
Yeah, it's a totally different issue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The last council meeting was about the resolution. I
Resolution
passed it around.
supporting the state.
Supporting, but yeah, supporting the state, whatever.
Sorry.
But this is like us doing a community choice. This is us figuring out, well, you know what, I'll let Josh explain it. He's closer to it.
Okay, so this was us trying to put something together so that people could opt in, correct? Michael O'Hara?
Josh, I think it's,
Yeah, the community choice aggregation was an opt-in if we were gonna pass that. The
Right.
issue with it was that it didn't seem like it was gonna be affordable for the community to go with community choice aggregation as the proposal from Power Markets laid out. I sent that, I think, a few months ago, but then they followed up with another proposal that was specific to community solar, which would mean that their process was that, and I can send this around to you, Margaret, tonight after the meeting if you'd like. I think I sent it recently to you as well, but I can resend it. And it was a proposal that basically from the mayor's office, a letter would go to residents in Hudson. They could then opt in to community solar. You'd save money on your bill, and that's that. It's a very simple. It doesn't cost the city anything. It just saves residents money. So I was just going to run through the legal committee just for a nod, like a yes, this makes sense, and then pass it on to the mayor's office with my intention.
So the process is that the legal committee doesn't actually vote on things. We review them, we make recommendations, and then it goes to the full council. And anything going to the mayor's office with the council's approval has to go through the full council. I don't feel right now that I have enough information about this to discuss it at tomorrow's meeting unless one of you has a document that you want to present and that you want to put it before the legal committee, but I don't feel that I have enough mastery of the issue to present it.
yeah, would one of us be able to present it to legal then, you're saying, Margaret?
Yeah,
Are you available?
I don't have any documents on it either.
Yeah,
Margaret, this is Nathan. I can show up at the legal committee tomorrow and be available basically across all of these three issues.
Okay, all right, good. So this afternoon I sent out to be posted a December version of the idling law, and then I got later this afternoon I got a March version. I ran a compare on them, so I did a track changes so that I can see the difference between the two. Tomorrow morning I can send that out to the full legal committee and ask the clerk to post it. So when I look at it, there's some penalty language. That's the main difference between the two that I can see. Is that correct?
yeah, I think that was, yeah.
And that's my fault, Margaret. I just didn't, in the rush to get that to you today, I didn't have the right version.
Okay,
Yeah,
no worries.
Yeah, and the latest version I'd sent you, Margaret, yeah, it was a local law rather than a resolution, so it's framed in a very different way. But yeah, the penalty piece was a question.
Okay, and in the version that I had, I'm sorry, who was just speaking?
Joshua.
Joshua, the version that I got earlier, it had commentary it had notes on the side that the last two sections could be deleted. That was up for discussion. So I'll send the track changes version out tomorrow so that everybody can see what this, this local law iteration plus the new language relating to penalty, what that is, and that's what we can discuss.
That version is the old outdated version, Margaret, the one with those notes. I believe.
Yes, when I read the notes, I deleted the sections that those notes referred to.
Okay, but the new version I sent is a whole different draft.
I understand that. So what I did was I took what I had sent to the legal committee earlier in the afternoon. I took what you sent me this afternoon, and then I did a document compare, which generates a track changes document so that you can easily see what is different between the two documents. I'll send the track changes to everybody tomorrow in addition to the version that you sent me, without a clean version, without messing with it. But that way people will be able to see that anything that they read today, this is how this is different.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, right. And if you have any questions, then, come back to us and we'll sort it out one step at a time.
And I'll be there tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank you, Nathan. Okay, great. Moving on to Sam, any other tree grant issues? The replacement trees, I went back to the emails. They're gonna get back to us in August about when they can come and replace the trees on Harry Howard, which have died.
Right.
And I'm assuming Aaron is working on the tree tags.
Yes,
She's
she
not
did. And she rehung them. She
Okay,
put them in their proper place. You know, they were sort of had checked because they didn't oil them. Kids didn't oil them as she'd advised. So there's some checking of tags with this little bit. But the tags are up in the proper place. What I just looked, the bags are filled around. We have to send to the DEC the photographs of the kids and photographs of the trees with bags. I don't know if that has been done, but we can do that very soon because we have both those things. I do know that some additional trees look under stress right now because of all the heat. So that can be problematic. We have to
I mean,
keep our
maybe
eyes.
an email to Rob Perry just to have them rewater them or something. You think that would help?
Yeah. I'll reach out to him and just ask him if he can double check.
That would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, they do go and refill the gator bags. They're pretty good with that.
Yeah, they have been. But it's just a question of what happened last year, I guess. Some, they just weren't healthy. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, we still need, like I said, they're going to come back and replace it. So if there are maybe one or two more trees, then we need to let them know.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Anything else on the grant opportunities, Sam?
Well, I joined Candid, the Foundation Directories database, just to look for non-for-profits, as I had discussed with you.
Mhm.
And I have found some things that I thought I had found me perfect. But damn, no, it was Albany County. Damn. I was so excited to, because it would have been great. But anyway, there are a lot more, but I have to sit through them because they all have small print that says, oh, it's only this county. Oh, it's only this group of people. As you have to filter, and it's very time consuming. But I still have some options to look into. A lot of the deadlines are at the end of July. If I find anything that looks really great, that's we'll at least put out, I'll send out a letter of inquiry, and we can get started. And I have reached out actually to Bill Foreman. So he knows that I'm trying to do this. And, he's going to try to help. They have a grant writer on board too.
Right. Yeah. The HCC can act as a nonprofit pass-through if the grants are only available for nonprofits. So they've done that in the past. Great.
Because the government ones are, I'm not sure what's going to be the help with our government at the moment. So, so I'm looking at the private sector. And as I said, there's a lot of good stuff. You just have to dig through it all, because I only could apply really. I could only afford, truth be told, to apply for the intro version, as it were. It doesn't come with all the bells and whistles filtering, which I'm used to using. So I'm very frustrated, but regardless, I'll get through it, and I'll let you know. And hopefully by next meeting, I'll have a list of things that we can get into. But before then, if I find anything, I'll be in touch with you so I can
That's
get
so good.
started.
Thank you.
Anyway, you're welcome.
That's great. Yeah, any grants we can get through, that would be amazing. It's amazing. Thank you.
you're
The
welcome.
fountains by the park, Ankle Break Park. As per Rob Perry, he redid the water spigot there. And there has been some work done. I don't think they're done with it yet, but there's a little pollinator garden that's now there on the little pocket park on State, between 3rd and 4th. I don't see a spigot there yet, but it looks like they dug something up and Rob said it was done. So I don't know. I have to go back and figure that out. Meanwhile, I have a 200-foot hose that I've been watering the pollinator garden with.
Thank you. Thank you. I was wondering if you knew, do you know, is Spark of Hudson actually the Walmart Sparks Foundation stuff? Are they affiliated with each other? Do you know?
I would say no. I mean, I don't
No.
know, but I'm guessing no. No, they're separate than Walmart.
Because there is a Spark thing through Walmart, which does community granting and things. I just was curious. But my point being, maybe we can get another grant to actually fill in the gaps at Ankle Break Park so that we don't break, which I would love to do personally.
That would be great because I don't understand that park. A lot of people, there's the big cheese grater staircase to bring the people in wheelchairs up. But then once you get to the top, there's no way with a wheelchair you can get through that park. It's that with the waffle stones.
Right.
It makes no sense. I mean,
Agreed.
Britt just applied for a grant from Spark and they gave her the money to do the pollinator garden. So yes, they put up more money than, I don't know, the question. Okay, next, climate action plan for Hudson. Is that still on this agenda? So I still keep this on there?
It's still on this agenda. There's a meeting this Thursday with at least the Columbia County Climate Smart Community Task Force meeting. I don't know if you have any other updates from the EMC or the other.
No, it's separate from the EMC now, so.
So I don't have any clear updates on the planning process, but I can circulate anything that comes out of the meeting on Thursday.
Okay, great.
Right.
Okay, thank you. And then the SUNY ESF grant. Anything on that?
I have
Yep.
reached out to them. I don't think he's back from vacation.
Just wondering.
He's really responsive, but I just sent out another email this week and it crickets. So I'm guessing he'll be back now that it's July 1st, and I'll find, because I have a list of people that are potential community advocates. And we have our person who is probably going to be the leader on this, but they want information. And I hope he has a handout or something that we can give to people so they know what's involved with this program.
Especially if they're starting in July.
Yes.
That was.
Yeah, they're supposed to be starting in July, so I thought, but anyway,
Right.
We did our due diligence on our end, and that's all we can do right now.
I mean, yeah, generally summers are slow. People are on vacation, things like that. But yeah. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And from my understanding here on the Adopt a Tree program, we had put in like a clause to the tree ordinance to include trees that were X number of years old. Is that right, Nathan?
Not as currently written, but the legal committee can do whatever it likes, right? Like this is we can bring that up if you want.
Okay,
It's
fine.
incredibly short as written. I think there's still a bunch of open questions about whether you can have DPW enforce it. Like, I think there's like a whole bunch of still open questions that I don't have clear guidance from someone who actually.
I did send Nathan, I did send those questions to Crystal, and
Okay.
she has the thing. So if we want to add language relating to older trees, at the moment it just addresses any tree that's in any public tree. And it has restrictions on the terms in which can be taken down. And if it's taken down, there has to be payment into a tree fund if they're not replacing. But there's no language specific to removing an older tree. If you want to add that, we can add that.
It's a,
Okay.
not my choice. It's a collective decision. Right?
Well, okay, so what do we want to do as a CAC? Do we want to add that language in or no?
What is that language you say?
I'm not clear,
Oh, okay.
to be honest. Do you have a sense of what you're proposing, Rich?
To add in language that says if a tree is either X size and diameter or X number of years old, that it would also be included in protection?
Well, it would be included in protection anyway if it's a public. Are you saying an old tree on private property?
Well, that's the question. I mean, I
Right,
get, right,
that's the
that's,
question. Because
That's-
anything on public property is already included. Regardless.
Or in
of-
the,
right.
so,
I think, mhm.
go ahead, Rich.
No, go ahead. That's the question, to include these trees on private property as well.
I mean, this has always been the question, right? It's like how expansive or minimal you want, or the council is willing to pass this regulation. So this has always been my open question, is like, in the context of the previous attempt at passing this, which was very expensive, failing, this is now, I would say, the opposite extreme. It's the most minimal proposed tree ordinance, which is just street trees, most of which we have paid for as a city, or many of which. And you could put something in between, but I'm really unclear on like what the council's appetite is. So what I drafted is the opposite extreme.
Are
So-
there other,
So the language as currently written, I think you probably all have this because Nathan had sent it around. As currently written, it says, and this is about street trees. Excuse me, no person shall remove, damage, or cause the removal of any street tree without first obtaining a permit from DPW. And then B, the permit application shall include the reason for removal, location of the tree, and any proposed replacement plan. We can add to that reason, location, age of tree, and proposed replacement plan. And we can make it as part of the process to issue a permit, taking into consideration the age of the tree and whether or not we're going to issue a permit. I mean, we could add that language, but the problem with the private trees on private land was that there was a lot of community concern about that and about dictating to people what they could do on their own properties. Even though the intent of it was to say, yes, you can do whatever you like on property, but you have to either replace trees or you have to pay into a tree fund.
I would say, Margaret, like, I'm happy to draft 3 or 4 different ones. Like, I would love guidance from the council on like what you're looking for.
yeah, I was just going to ask if there were other examples from other towns or cities that have already gone through this and what they've found to be successful with the private owners.
Previous drafted version was very close to the one in Rhinebeck, and
Okay.
that failed to pass here.
Okay,
Yeah,
And
Kingston
then-
has one. There's lots of, and Socrates might have one. There's just nothing's passing here that exists in those towns because of this concern about private property.
and those examples have private trees.
I believe if they're in the public way, if they create shade on,
They're all
they're all
different. They're all a bit different. Some of them are very expensive to be any tree in the entire city, and then others there's every gradation, basically, if you survey that, between those
I
two.
mean, and in full, I mean, and I don't think we actually have brought it to the council yet to vote on. So, it's sort of how much pushback are we going to get and where do we start? Do we go for everything and then compromise, or do we start small and then build up on it? I mean, I think
Right.
that's the direction. We have to figure out which direction to go in.
The
And when we
other
speak- Mhm.
quirk here, which is the decision that we were going for in this draft, which was
Right.
having DPW be the regulatory
Right.
agency. And they are not responsible of anything else other than the public way, in their view, at least. And so I think it would get more pushback from DPW to add things outside of the streets, basically.
Yeah.
But they already are doing permits for adding street trees. So it feels very logical, at least for this narrow street tree case, to have that be a DPW thing. So I guess in my view, it's like, if we do the street tree thing, we can add a lot more later, but that's like, in my view, the most minimal. It's sort of absurd that you cut down a tree that the city is paid for currently, in my view. Yeah, at the very least, that narrow case, like we should all be able to agree, right, on.
Well, that makes the most sense to me, is to start with this
Yep.
minimal approach to it, in the public way.
Yeah.
Version of it, rather than go for something that we suspect is going to get some serious pushback.
Yeah.
The other idea too is that it could be, if it's an iterative, like phased
Yeah.
plan or phased, policy or recommendation, it could be that, just initially, if you want to remove a tree on private land, then there could just be like educational resources of what's available to you, so you're making an informed decision. So it's like, did you know about this or that or this? And
Yes.
then it could at least help inform landowners, like what is available to them.
I'd like to make a suggestion of something that we could add that I think may address some of this. So at the moment, we define street trees located in the public right of way, including but not limited to planted in sidewalks, tree lawns, or other public easements adjacent to public streets. We could add that this also applies to trees on private land that provide shade or that overhang a public street.
Yep.
Right.
That there was I think this is a good idea. If you have the sense that it can pass, I'd be happy to draft
Right.
the overhang shade version.
Right,
That's the
because that gets at something which is that yes, the tree is on your private land, but it is actually providing shade on a public street.
Yes.
And when we say public, are we defining public as City of Hudson public or City of Hudson and Columbia County public?
I don't know the difference. What do you mean by that?
Well, since the issue was that the trees on the Columbia County Courthouse lawn, do we have any
Yes.
jurisdiction over those?
No, we don't. No, we don't.
So then when we say public, we're talking about City of Hudson public.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the question. Okay. All right. Well, how do you feel, Margaret, with this going? And Nathan, how do you feel about this? Everyone else going to legal?
I am for a maximalist version personally. I'm just trying to figure out something that will pass so that we can have at least the street tree part.
I think we should bring it to legal and we could talk through some of the things that we've talked about this evening. We can make some amendments about trees providing shade. We can add language around the permit having to include the age of the tree, and that will be taken into consideration in granting a permit to remove a tree.
Yep. I think it's all worthy discussion and we should.
Right, and then the process is that it'll go from legal, once we've discussed it and made some amendments, it will go to the full council, to the informal next week. Where it won't get a vote, but it will get a vote in the formal.
Yep.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Go
I
ahead.
can make a proposed edit before the meeting tomorrow somehow of the shade version. So at least we have the legal committee can at least look at those versions.
Actually, I do not like to keep sending out different versions of things. I would prefer
Okay.
to have these issues be issue topics that we discuss and that we have proposed amendments and changes that we want to make. Members of the committee may have changes that they want to make, but I think sending out different iterations of something is frustrating. I'd rather just bring, these are not huge, things where we're changing the entire document, and I would rather have that as part of the discussion.
Okay. Works for me.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Margaret and Nathan, for everyone for your help on this. Thank you. Anything else? Any other topics that I missed? Do we have new business in anyone in the room? New business? No? New business from anyone else? Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
moved.
Yeah.
All in favor? Great. Thank you all very much. Have a good week, and I will talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.